Hi everyone. Today video is on using Apollo Angular library for consuming the GraphQL endpoint into Angular application. Okay. So if you already know about GraphQL REST API, it is quite difficult to consume the GraphQL endpoints using the JavaScript, any kind of library like to call the API calls, right? So here what we will do means we will use a one popular library like Apollo Angular. By using that we can use easily format some GraphQL queries and invoke them into the GraphQL endpoint. Okay, so before going any further, I want to mention that this entire session has been already created as a blog. Okay, this is the blog like Angular application to consume GraphQL endpoint using Apollo Angular library. Okay, everything I am going to explain in this video has been already added into this blog. So if you want to go through blog, the link will be available inside of the description under the video. So you can check over there. Okay. Now let's jump into our sample. I have already created a Angular application with the latest version, that is 11. So in this sample, I am going to do some basic operations like query and the mutation. Okay. So those are the main things needed by any developer when they want to consume the GraphQL endpoint. Okay. So for that, we have to install the plugin of Angular Apollo. Okay, for that you can search like Angular Apollo. Okay, and you can click over here. Okay, this is the documentation where you can find in-depth uh, usage of the GraphQL query. If you want, you can go through the official blog, official docs. Okay, so once go to get started, and here there is an ng command where it will internally downloads all the required packages and also create a file like app.graphql module, and in that file we will have all the configuration regarding to the GraphQL. So on our part we need to just run this ng add Apollo Angular command. Okay, so let's copy that command, paste it over here. So here it is expecting some GraphQL URL endpoint. I am going to give in upcoming steps. So for now I am just resuming my installation. Okay, it seems it's installed successfully. Let's check the package.json file. So this command internally installs three main plugins like Apollo Angular, okay, and Apollo Client, and then GraphQL. Okay, these are the plugins dependencies that are indirectly installed into our app by running the nzad apollo-angular command. Okay, and it's going to create one file like GraphQL module.ts file. So here it will by default implement all minimum logic to getting started with the GraphQL. Okay, so the only thing we need to do is we need to assign here our GraphQL endpoint. Okay, so that is the thing we have to do here. Okay, so for this development, I have already created a one GraphQL endpoint using .NET. So I'm going to use that API to implement this sample. Okay, there are some public API also, you can use them. The reason I am not using those public free APIs because they won't support update. So to show mutation also in this video, I have created my own GraphQL endpoint. If you so to follow my video, you can use any free an API endpoint or your own GraphQL endpoint please use it to follow the steps what I am doing in this video. Okay, so this is my .NET application, GraphQL application. It is already up and running. So the URL will be like this. Okay. And I have also mentioned that as a front-end developer, we may not no need to know much about the GraphQL, but we should know minimum about them, like key features like query. Here you can see query keyword, right? Let me zoom in. Query keyword, right? This means in GraphQL terminology, query command is for fetching the data. Similar way, there will be another command is like mutation. Okay, mutation is nothing but to save the data into the API. Okay, so query is for fetching and mutation is for uh, updating data into the server. So, and if you observe here, this is my gadgets you are seeing, right? This name is nothing but a one method that is in the server. So that method returns the response for us. So here I have created a method at the server that is my gadgets, but you don't need to remember. But for the sake of understanding, I am explaining this. Okay. So my gadget is this method in server. What will do means it will return the collection of uh, data, collection of records. Okay. In the beauty of GraphQL is inside we can specify only required number of properties only. So if you give n number of properties, only that many number of properties will be written by the server in the response. So no extra properties are necessary. If you observe here we are requesting five properties. You can see those five properties in the response. If you want only two, you can only request them, only two properties. So it is running. See, we are getting only requested properties. That is the beauty of GraphQL. Okay. So that is the basic info on GraphQL queries. I think you got some idea on it. Okay. Same fashion, mutation also. Mutation represents, keyword represents itself, updating the data. Okay. So here save means my method in the server. Okay. So that's about the GraphQL. Every GraphQL will have this nice rich UI tool. Okay, so this was actually built in Hot Chocolate .NET library. So it will provide this tool name is like Banana Cake Pop. Okay, in some different libraries they will provide different UI tool. So but it can be used by any developer, means it will be helpful for UI developers as well, and it will be helpful for server side developers as well. So this is the amazing tool. So to work on GraphQL, we should have the tool like this. Okay, this URL is server URL only. This tool will be inside of the server code only, generated by the server. Okay, that's all about the basic idea we need to have on the GraphQL. So now we have to copy this URL and come to our application and paste it over here. That's it. The GraphQL configurations are done from our side. Okay. So now what I will do means, here I have shown you, right? Getting collection of data. So in this sample, I am going to call this query, GraphQL query, and on receiving the data, I'm going to bind it to the table. That is my first task on this video. Okay. So for that, I'm going to my application and I'm going to use my app component only existing. Okay. So here, first thing is I need to create the query. So for that, what I will do means I will simply create a constant and I will name like get. Will use method name. So this naming convention is your own convention. It is just an option. Okay. And open this backticks. Okay. because I am going to paste it here multiple line of code that is nothing but our query, GraphQL query. But here we need to have one more thing like from Apollo Angular. One instant is like GQL. So we need to append this GQL to the backticks. Okay. And now what I will do means I will copy this entire query. Okay. And I'm going to paste it inside of this uh, backtick. So I have finished my query for fetching the data, GraphQL query for fetching the data. Okay. Now what I will do means in the component constructor, okay, I need to get one more instance like Apollo. Okay, I will inject here private Apollo. Okay, so I have injected private Apollo and I want to load data on page load. So I am going to implement on init. Okay, so let's implement that method. Let me get rid of this. So here what I will do means I'm going to access the Apollo instance, this dot Apollo dot. See, here we will have one method like query watch. Okay, call this method, give any, and here we need to provide, it will provide query watch will takes input an object. There we have to provide, there we will have a query property. To that query property, we need to pass our constant. Okay, what is our constant? Get my gadgets. Okay, this query objects returns one property like value changes. So this is an observable property. So I have to subscribe to it to grab the data. Okay. So this subscriber data. Okay. So if you observe, this data is nothing but the response from the server. Okay. And this loading property will be a Boolean value that notify us whether it is successfully completed or not. Okay, so for now timing, I am going to just console log the loading. If you are using any loading spinner, then you can use this value to assign the value to the property of the spinner. Okay, to hide and show the spinner based on the data loading. Okay, and now I want to store this data into a variable. So let me create a variable like all gadgets. Okay, and let for me any for now. So what I will do, I let me create a model for this response data. Okay, so for that what I will do, for that here inside of the app, let's create a folder like models. Okay, inside of the model, let me create a entity like gadget.ts. Okay, port interface gadget. Okay, let make it small casing. Okay. And I want these properties to be defined here. So let's grab these properties. So this is my payload model type. Okay, so let's define this type here. Okay, think automatic it will import. Yes, it is imported. Okay, now what I will do, I am going to assign this dot all gadgets equal to data dot see this property I will assign directly. Okay, this is how we need to fetch our data. What we are doing, we are calling watch query. To that watch query, we are passing our GraphQL query, right? Okay, and it will we are subscribing to the value changes of this uh, watch query method, and once receiving data, we are assigning to the our component local variable. So I'm going to use a Bootstrap table. So let's go to Bootstrap. Okay, docs, and just copy this CSS line of code and go to the index page. For now, just paste it over here. You want to integrate internally. That approach also you can do for integrating Bootstrap. I'm using it directly. Okay, and we are getting, and I need to update the HTML component HTML. Okay, so let me get rid of all this. Okay, and what I want, I need table. Okay, and I want this dark theme. So I'm copying this. Uh, let's get the table rows and everything. Okay, and let's give table headings like ID. I'm having product name. Okay, and next brand, and the next what I'm having, and check here, product name, brand, cost, and type. Okay, so brand, cost. Okay, table header, cost, next thing, brand, cost, and type. And here I need to loop my all gadgets property, right? So let gadget of copy the property name from here. Okay, so I am iterating the all the data on the TR, so I can get rid of this existing one. Okay, and make it let's remove it, and 5 TDs we required, and next we need to find them. Okay, gadget.id. Okay, I think that's it. We are done with our initial process for fetching and binding the data. So let's run the application. Okay. So I have forgot to mention one more thing. We are using ng for right. So we need to import form module into our app component, app module, or else we will get an issue. Import from @angular/forms. Okay. Form module and import that form module. Yes, save it. Application has been good without any issues. It is up and running. Let's access it in the browser and check the output. Okay. See, my data is binded. How nicely. So let's check the network call. So I'm reloading. See, my GraphQL endpoint has been invoked, and you can see here data we are getting. Okay. And one more thing I have to show is, see, this is our query string that we have prepared, right? This query property and the value we have passed. Okay. So that's how the first step of consuming an API of a GraphQL with the query document, we have to do like this. Okay. So here, if you observe, it is a some like a plain command, and it is going to get all the data, right? But in general, or in real time REST API, if you compare with REST API, what we will have, we will always have filters like query parameters, right? Where some dynamic data is passed as a query parameter that was usually input by the user, like something like some form or some, when you click on edit button, some query value will be sent out to the server as a query parameter. So that kind of filtering, how we can achieve in this GraphQL. So here passing query parameter also fetching a data. Fetching data means we need to write query command only. But how to input the dynamic value that user entered into this query command? Okay. So for that, GraphQL provides us a one small technique is like to pass as variables. Okay. So first let me show it from the GraphQL point of view. So if you observe here, so let me zoom in. Okay. Yeah. If you observe here, there are few changes you can observe. Okay. This query keyword represent, it is a query, and brand filter. This is nothing but a method name in the server. And here you can observe one thing is like dollar brand name. Okay. This is the variable, and where this variable is reference lies is here. Okay. So one thing here we need to remember is this variable name should be root property in the variable object. Okay. In query, we should append dollar to it. These two names should be same. If not, we can face error. Okay. So these names is our wish only. What we can define our own name, but these two should be same. Only difference is in query we have to use dollar. Okay. And nesting string. This is capital STRING string. This is not a JavaScript type. This is GraphQL type. How we know this GraphQL type? This input has to be given for us by the server side developer. Okay. This capital STRING is nothing but the GraphQL type. So this means it is a string type. See here I'm passing some string like Samsung. Next, this variable name is assigned to brand. See, this name should be input property name of the brand filter method in the server. So this name should be match with the name in the server. So this is also has to be given as our front-end developer by the server-side developer only. So this brand variable name is uh, method input parameter of this brand filter method at the server side. So that's how. Here, what it will do, it will fetches the brands that we are requesting for. So if I click on Samsung, we will first check here. Here we will have more OnePlus, Samsung, all kind of different brand, Apple, iPhone, all brands are there, right? So now I want only Samsung brands. So let me run this command. See, now I am getting only Samsung brands. Okay. Now if I try OnePlus, I think. There must be a space. So like this, it will be there. Okay. See, now you'll get only one record. So in GraphQL, filtering should be achieved like this. Okay. So GraphQL only have only one endpoint. Only change will happen in commands like query command or mutation command. Okay. So this is how it will work. So now my my intention is in our sample, I am going to add a small form that contains a text box and button. So in the text box, user can search for the brands. Okay. So I am going to implement that one. For that, what I will do, I am going for forms, Bootstrap form. Okay, go to form controls. Let's copy this form. Okay, and go over here on top of this table. Let me add this form. Want this. Okay, let's get rid of that entire div and change this type to text. And I'm going to name it a text brand. Okay, search by brand. So let's copy this and let's paste it in placeholder as well. And let's text brand and add name attribute. Since I'm going to use model binding, I will use same one like name and ID. Okay, so like such. Okay, so what I will do, I will create one variable like here selected brand. Okay, this will be a string. Initially it is empty. Okay, I'm going to model bind it with the form so that I can read all the user inputted data. So ng model, I'm going to assign. Okay, now I will register click with a method that I have to create now. I will create a method like search by brand. Okay, let's copy this and go to our component. Okay, paste it over here. Now I will copy this entire code. Okay, but my command will be different here, right? So first let's create a query command for filter with filter data. So I will do like get. I will just name it from here brand filter. Okay, and a GQL for query parser backticks. Okay, let me copy this entire command, paste it over here. Okay, and get this get brand filter and assign as a value. And we have to pass variables, right? In filtering variables, this tab C variable, this is variable tab. So for that, it will provide watch query provide one more property like variables. Okay, that variable I have mentioned, right? This main property name should match with this dollar name, dollar after the name. So I'm copying that name and assigning here. Okay. To this, I am going to assign my selected brand value. And there is one more change like the return type of this model is different, name is different. So what I will do, I'm going to change this to my gadget. I am replace this. Okay. So everything good. This should work as expected. Okay. So let's take the output now. See, this is my uh, form. See, small form, search by brand and text. So let me text for Samsung. Okay, see, I only getting Samsung. So let me check for OnePlus. See, OnePlus. If you observe here, our request single query endpoint, and here you can see along with query, now variable also sent by our GraphQL client in our Angular application. So to pass some dynamic data, we need to use the variables of the variable section of the GraphQL. Okay, so this is how we can do Samsung. So this way we can get it. Okay, so here we are not getting any cost and type data. Why? So that is because we are requesting only those three properties only. If you want to all, just copy it from here and paste it here as well. Okay. Now if I refresh and search for Samsung, see now I am getting all everything I am getting, right? So what we have did, we did getting collection of data and binding the table. And next step we are querying with the dynamic filtering data. So next last thing we are going to do in this video is mutation. Mutations are nothing but saving the new record to the server. So mutations are meant for updating or saving the data to the server. Means it will change the state of the database in the server. Okay. So for that, what I will do, I will create a one more form here top of this set. So there I am going to provide the fields to add a new record to this. Okay. For that, let me duplicate this form. Okay. Breaking line breaks. Okay. What I will do, I am going to create four divs, means four test fields. Okay. So this will be by txt product name. So here it will be like product name. Okay. And the placeholder, I'm going to change it like product. Okay. And here I'm going to change the name and ID as well. Similarly, just do for all. Like next is I will leave brand like this only. Change this name because I have already have brand right with ID. In search I already have text brand right, so I am adding just a two. You can give your meaningful name. So here I am going to change like text cost. So copy that here. Copy that here. And here you also forgot to change brand, and in the placeholder it is brand. Okay, here it is cost. And here we have to last field like text type. So let's do that. Text type, text type. So text type. Okay. So let me create some form model to model bind with its form. So for that, let's go here and create gadgets form. Okay, I'm making it any. The reason I am not using gadgets because if I assign gadgets here, I need to send ID, right? ID. In general, in normal REST API, we will send ID as a 0 for saving new record, right? Some may not send, some might send. But if I use gadget type, it will automatically sends that ID. But in the server side creation method, this value is not registered. So if I send unnecessary property to the server, it will throw error. So that's why I'm not using the gadget type because I have to create one more type. So just I'm skipping to create a one more type for posting or saving data. So I have used simply any, but in real time, please make sure to have a type. Okay. So the properties are almost like these properties, right? So I will use same. Let's go to our copy this name. Okay. Go to our HTML in this model binding. So this is for product name. So gadgets form dot products name. Next gadgets form dot brand. Okay. Next here I need to change cost. Okay. And what is the placeholder? Cost. Okay. Placeholder is good. So here I have to assign this cost and this is my type. So this should be type and gadgets form dot type. So that's about our Angular model binding. Okay. So let's get rid of all this. And we have prepared form with model binding and pending thing is like button. So name it as new gadget. Okay. So copy this method. What I will do, I will add a one method here, gadgets. Okay. So here what I will do, this dot Apollo dot. See here one more method is there, mutate. I should use that method. Okay. Mutate and it is also expecting some properties like mutation. Mutation is nothing but this. So first let me explain the mutation query here. Mutation is query is almost looks like query parameters we have previously discussed, means it's some dynamic data. So this is only changes mutation is there. Here also we need to we will have a variable object because here we need to pass some dynamic data, right? So I am explaining over here again. So this is my uh, variable name reference. So this name should be matches with the variable main property. See, this is the parent property inside of the my payload has been assigned. So this name should match with this variable name. Okay. And this gadgets input type. This is the class name at the server. This should be given to us by the server side developers. We cannot give anything like that. Previously, if you remember, string. This is the predefined data type of the GraphQL. Okay, this is manually defined data type of the GraphQL, nothing but a class name that is defined in our server. So this is the name I have defined in my server. Okay, so my variable name type is gadgets input. Okay, this will be, I am assigning to this gadgets input. See, this is the name of the input parameter in the server of the method save. Okay, so this is the server method and its input parameter name is gadgets. These should not be changed. Okay, because they are the server things we cannot change. Okay, so this method will save the data and it will return the newly created gadgets object to us. So here inside again I am just requesting the required properties once the record is created. So here I am requesting all the properties in this example. So now what I will do, I am going to copy this mutation command. Okay, go to our application. Here let me create one more cost constant and post equal tactics and paste that command. Okay, is save, right? I'm going to use that name here. Okay, so this variable name is my own naming convention. You can do your own naming convention. Okay, so this is how we need to frame the mutation. Here only changes mutation keyword. Okay, and now if you go down here I need to pass that post save, and here we have variables, right? Because some dynamic data we need to pass as a payload, that we have to do here. And I have to create main property, that name should be matches with this name. So copy that other, excluding the dollar sign, assign it over here. So what I will do, I will create a form. Okay, going to take all these properties. Okay, here from my form I am going to assign here this dot gadgets form dot. I'm not directly passing. The reason behind this is because of cost. It is comes as a string, but it should be a number. Brand, and now we'll format it. This dot gadgets form. Since I am defining my own separate set of property, right? So here I can use gadgets type because it will be more type safety. And the only change is I have to give ID. It is number. The ID is number. Anyway, I am not sending ID in this object, so I have changed it from any to gadget type. Okay. Here I am preparing another set of object, right? I am not directly sending the gadgets from. That is the reason I am make it this object form type so that it will be more type safe. Here also the good way of coding is we need, if we create a one type for this object literal, that will be more good and efficient. Okay, so mutate, right? This here we don't have like value change property. Directly we can subscribe and it will provide us data. Okay, and what I will do, this dot all gadgets dot, I am going to add it in the top of the list. This save is nothing but like this. My API written, I already know how the data will come, so I'm trying to access the save property, but it is showing some error. So let me do like this. Okay. So save everything, and we are invoking the mutation endpoint and updating our all gadgets list by adding the new data. My form looks much better, right? Let me add. Want to add iPhone X, brand Apple, price, and it is mobile. Okay, let's clear the and click on create. It should be come here. It is not coming. Let's see. Oh, it is showing 200 and we also getting data. See, this is the property I'm trying to get here. Yeah, but it is not binding. The record is successfully saved. See, record also returning, but it is not binding. There is issue here. Cannot add property, not extend. Object is not extensible. Okay. Seems like some. This is acting like a non-extendable property. So what I will do, let gadgets object dot assign is dot all gadgets. What I am doing, just making it as a making another mutatable or changeable object. So what I will do, gadgets dot unshift, okay, data. So finally, I will assign this new object to scale. Hope this works. Simply, I am creating a new object which is mutatable. Inside it, I am just copying all my old gadgets into this gadgets object, and after adding the old objects, I am adding my new added record into the top of the list, and again reassigning to the gadgets. Let's hope this will work. Okay, let's confirm. See, my previously added record is added, but it is not reflected from the JavaScript point of view. So let me add one more new product like iPhone 11. Okay. Brand is Apple and mobile. Let's create now. See, now it is successfully reflected. Okay. Previously, it is not allowing me to update the array directly. So what I did, I just created one temporary data variable. There it is mutable, means changeable. There I am updating my new record and reassigning to all gadgets. So finally, I am able to see the added records here. That are those are the those are the basic steps like query and mutation are basic steps for consuming the GraphQL endpoint. So that's all. How to use them using the Angular Apollo library makes us application so simple and easy to consume the GraphQL endpoints very efficiently. I think this video has delivered some useful information to you all. If you like my video, please do subscribe to my channel. Will you meet you again with a new videos, guys? Until then, signing off.